All right, so we're going on a deep dive today
Okay.
into personality types.
Cool.
And I know you're already pretty familiar with it, so we're going to go kind of beyond like just the surface level.
Yeah, let's get into it.
So by the end of this, you'll have a solid understanding, how the system works, what those four-letter codes everyone's always throwing around mean,
Right, right.
and maybe even some insights into your own personality along the way.
Awesome.
So 16 personalities is based on
Well, it pulls from some of those classic theories
Oh,
like
cool.
Jung's work, but kind of adds its own unique spin on things.
Okay, yeah, that types versus traits thing I saw right away.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big debate in personality theory.
It is. It is. It's like, are we trying to sort people into like categories,
So
boxes?
Yeah, or is it more like, you fall somewhere along a spectrum for different traits?
That makes sense. So, those traditional type-based models can feel kind of rigid, trying to put everyone in a box, as you said.
Yeah.
But then you've got these trait-based models that see it more like a spectrum,
Right.
measuring, how much of a certain trait you have. So, like, imagine extroversion on a line instead of just extrovert or introvert.
Oh, okay, so like you could be super extroverted or super introverted or somewhere in the middle. Like what about those ambiverts you hear about?
Exactly. That's a great example. And 16 Personalities actually uses kind of a hybrid approach.
Oh, interesting.
It acknowledges that people fall on a spectrum, but it still provides those distinct types.
Okay, so how does it do that?
It uses 5 personality aspects.
5. Okay, tell me more about those.
So the first one is energy, introversion versus extroversion.
Got it.
This is all about how you recharge.
Makes sense.
Like if you're more introverted, you might find social situations kind of draining.
Yeah.
And you need some alone time to regain energy. But if you're more extroverted, you probably love those social settings. And being around people actually gives you energy.
Yeah, I'm definitely someone who needs that quiet time, like to recharge
Yeah,
after being around people for a while.
for sure.
Okay, so what's the next aspect?
Next up, we've got mind.
Okay.
This is all about how you perceive information and how you kind of make sense of the world around you.
Interesting.
So, if you're more observant, you're probably super detail-oriented, focused on concrete facts.
Right, yeah.
Stuff you can directly see and experience.
I see.
But if you're more intuitive, you're probably drawn to those big picture ideas, the abstract concepts.
Okay, that makes sense. I'm starting to see how these could play out in, different ways.
Yeah.
What about the third one?
The third aspect is nature.
Okay.
This focuses on how you make decisions. Do
Mhm.
you prioritize logic, objective analysis, weighing the pros and cons?
Right.
That points towards a thinking preference. But if you're factoring in your emotions and values, then you might lean towards the feeling preference.
Interesting.
And this can even influence how you deal with conflict. Like,
Mhm.
thinking types are all about fairness and impartiality, but feeling types are more concerned with, maintaining harmony and understanding everyone's perspective.
It's amazing how much these simple aspects can really impact things.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so what's the fourth one? What's number 4?
The fourth aspect is tactics.
Okay.
So this one explores your approach to work, planning, decision-making, all that good stuff.
All right.
Someone with aggression, judging preference, loves structure, organization. I feel like I know a few people like that.
They thrive on it. They love a good to-do list, having a clear plan.
Oh, yeah, totally.
But if you're more of a prospecting type,
Mm-hmm.
you probably prefer flexibility, spontaneity,
Yeah,
keeping your options open,
interesting.
adapting as you go. That judging versus prospecting thing is like super interesting to me because I know people who are like total opposites.
Mm-hmm.
And it really does influence how they approach, projects, even their daily lives.
Sure.
So we've got one aspect left, right?
We do.
What is it?
The final aspect is identity.
Identity. Okay.
This delves into your confidence levels and how you react to stress.
Oh, interesting.
So, assertive types tend to be very self-assured, even-keeled, even under pressure.
Got it.
They're not easily flustered, bounce back from setbacks.
Right.
But if you lean more towards the turbulent side,
Uh-huh.
you might be a bit more self-critical and sensitive to stress.
Yeah.
Those ups and downs are a little more intense.
I see.
But the upside is that turbulent types are often super driven to improve to achieve their goals.
Okay, so we've got these five core aspects.
Right.
There's that whole roles and strategies thing too. Okay, so break it down for me. What exactly are what are these roles?
Think of roles as the inner layer of personality.
Okay,
So they're determined by your energy, mind, and nature preferences.
right,
And there are four main roles: analysts, diplomats, sentinels, and explorers.
right.
And each role has its own kind of unique set of strengths, motivations, almost like archetypes, you know.
So the roles are kind of like the foundation of your personality,
Yeah, you could say that.
and then the strategies build on top of that.
Exactly.
What's that?
Strategies, which form the outer layer, are determined by your introversion, extroversion, and assertive, turbulent aspects.
So wait, are you saying like my introversion extroversion preference,
Yeah,
it plays a role in both my role and my strategy?
it does.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah,
It really shows how like interconnected all this stuff is.
for sure.
All right, so are we ready to dive into these roles and kind of see what makes each one unique?
Let's do it.
Okay, awesome.
Okay, so first up, we've got the analysts.
Okay.
These are the folks who love to dive into those complex ideas,
Right.
you know, really get to the bottom of things.
Hmm.
They're driven by logic, a real thirst for knowledge.
Makes sense.
Think of them as the architects of systems and ideas, you know?
So like the ultimate problem solvers, kind of?
Yeah, pretty much.
Right.
They excel in, you know, fields like science and technology, anything that requires that strategic thinking.
I see.
But they're not just all, you know, cold, hard logic.
Right.
They have this like deep curiosity about the world, how things work.
Yeah, okay, so analysts are all about logic and systems.
Right. Yeah.
What about the diplomats? What makes them tick?
Diplomats are all about empathy and harmony.
Oh.
They're the peacemakers, the mediators, the ones who can see, you know, all sides of a situation.
Right.
And they're really good at building bridges between people. They're super intuitive, excel at understanding others, like on an emotional level.
So while the analysts are building systems, the diplomats are like building relationships.
Yeah, I like that.
It's a good balance.
It is.
What about the sentinels?
Oh, the Sentinels.
What's their role in all of this?
Sentinels are the guardians of tradition and order, you know?
Okay.
They're all about structure, reliability, a sense of duty.
I see.
They keep things running smoothly.
Right.
Think of them as the organizers, the rule followers.
Yeah, I can definitely see how
Yeah.
like their observant and judging traits would make them really good at, you know, logistics, administration, that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Things that require a lot of attention to detail.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, and we've got one role left, right?
We do.
The explorers.
The explorers.
What sets them apart?
These are the adventurers of the personality world.
Okay.
They crave those new experiences,
Yeah.
thrive on spontaneity, adapt easily to change.
Right.
They're very, very present, in tune with their surroundings, you know?
They sound like they'd be amazing artists, performers, entrepreneurs,
Oh, yeah,
anything that lets them express their individuality
for sure.
and like push the boundaries.
Absolutely. Anything that sparks their curiosity
Yeah.
and lets them learn through doing, through that hands-on experience,
Oh,
they're the ones who, you know, keep things interesting,
right.
challenge the status quo.
Okay, so we've covered the four roles.
We have.
Now let's move on to those strategies, that outer layer.
Okay.
So remind me how those work again.
All right, so strategies are determined by your introversion, extroversion,
Right.
and your assertive, turbulent preferences.
Got it.
They influence how you approach your goals, navigate social situations.
Mhm.
Think of them as the lens you're viewing the world through.
Okay, so we've got confident individualism, people mastery, constant improvement, and social engagement.
Those are the four.
Okay, so what's confident individualism all about?
Confident individualists, they trust their own instincts. They like to forge their own path.
Makes sense.
For independent thinkers,
Right.
not afraid to go against the grain,
Interesting.
challenge the status quo, all that.
They sound like real trailblazers.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Driven by a strong internal compass.
Mhm.
They value authenticity above all else.
I see.
You know, they're often drawn to fields where they can express their individuality,
Right.
really make their mark on the world.
So like entrepreneurship, research,
Yeah,
anything that requires that independent thinking and risk taking.
absolutely.
Okay, cool. What about people mastery? What makes this strategy unique?
People mastery is all about, well, mastering people,
Okay.
you know, connecting with others.
Right.
They're the ones who really thrive in those social settings.
Yeah.
possess those excellent communication skills,
Uh-huh.
and often find themselves in leadership roles.
I bet they're like the life of the party.
Oh, yeah.
Can like charm their way into anything.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
They're charismatic, know how to inspire and motivate others,
Right.
and they genuinely enjoy connecting with people.
Yeah.
Often have that knack for bringing people together.
That sounds like a pretty valuable skill set
It is.
in like any field.
For sure.
Okay, what about constant improvement?
Constant improvement.
What are they constantly trying to improve?
Those with a constant improvement strategy, they have incredibly high standards
Okay.
for themselves. I mean,
Right.
they're always striving to be better,
Uh-huh.
driven to, learn, grow, refine their skills.
So they're like the perfectionists,
You could say that.
always pushing themselves to do better.
Yeah, but it's not just about perfection.
Right.
It's about that desire to really master their craft, make a meaningful contribution.
I see.
They're often drawn to fields where they can, continually learn and challenge themselves.
Oh, like science, academia,
Yeah, good example.
anything that requires that precision dedication to lifelong learning.
Exactly.
Okay, and we've got one strategy left.
We do.
Social engagement.
Social engagement.
What's that all about?
Social engagement folks are highly ambitious,
Okay.
driven to succeed.
Makes sense.
They place a lot of value on social recognition,
Mhm.
validation from others.
So, like, the go-getters always striving to reach the top.
Yeah, they have a lot of energy, a lot of drive.
Right.
They're natural leaders, excel in fields where they can, really shine,
Yeah.
be recognized for their achievements.
So we've got these 4 roles, 4 strategies.
Right?
How do they all, like, come together to create those 16 personality types?
That's where the type table comes in.
Okay.
It's like a personality decoder ring.
Oh, cool.
You combine your role and your strategy, and it reveals your 4-letter code.
Okay, I'm, like, dying to know how this works.
I bet.
Can you give us an example?
Sure. Let's say you're an analyst,
Okay.
which means you're an intuitive thinking type, and you also have that confident individualism strategy,
Yeah.
meaning you're more introverted and assertive.
Got it.
That combination on the type table would make you an INTJ.
INTJ.
Okay, which stands for introverted, intuitive thinking, and judging.
Wow. It's like solving a personality puzzle.
It is, kind of.
Each of those 4-letter codes,
Yeah.
it represents this like unique combination of traits, motivations,
Right.
behavioral patterns.
Exactly.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And understanding those underlying roles and strategies, it helps you like decode those acronyms
It does.
and see those patterns
Yeah.
in yourself and others.
Sure.
It's like learning a secret language,
Kind of,
a
yeah.
personality.
It is.
This is so cool.
I know, it's pretty neat.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
Types, traits, roles, strategies, even that mysterious type table.
A whole shebang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm starting to see the world through a whole new lens.
That's the power of these frameworks. Right.
You know, they give you a new way to understand yourself and others.
Before we move on,
Yeah.
can we just take a second to reflect on what we've learned so far?
Sure.
I think it would be helpful to kind of connect all these dots
Yeah.
before we jump into the strengths and weaknesses of the system.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Okay.
Taking a moment to kind of synthesize all this will make the next part even more insightful, I think.
Awesome. All right. So I think I've got a pretty good grasp on how those roles and strategies work together
Yeah.
to create those 16 personality types. It's like a personality recipe or something.
Kind of, yeah.
You combine the ingredients and bam, you've got a unique personality.
Right. But I know, like 16 personalities, it's got its fair share of critics too, right?
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the main criticisms is that it oversimplifies personality.
Okay.
Critics argue that putting people into those neat little categories doesn't really capture the complexity of human nature.
Yeah, I get that.
We're all unique.
Right. No two people are exactly alike.
Exactly.
Even if they share the same personality type.
Exactly. And no model, no matter how comprehensive, can perfectly capture all the nuances of individual personalities.
Right.
So it's important to remember that 16 personalities, like any personality assessment, is just a tool.
Okay.
It's a starting point for self-discovery, not a definitive label.
So it's like a map, not the actual terrain.
Oh, I like that. It
Yeah.
gives you a general sense of the landscape,
Right.
but it doesn't show you every little twist and turn along the way.
Okay, that's a good analogy.
Another criticism is that the test relies on self-reporting,
Right.
which can be a bit subjective.
Yeah, for sure.
People
Yeah.
might answer questions in a way that presents them in a more favorable light than
Mhm.
being totally honest with themselves.
So maybe it's not always the most, accurate reflection of who we really are.
Well, it's always best to take these kinds of tests with a grain of salt.
Okay.
Use them as a tool for self-reflection, but don't take them as as gospel.
Right, fair enough. But even with, all those criticisms, 16 Personalities is super popular.
It is.
Why do you think that is?
I think one reason is because it's incredibly accessible.
Okay.
The test is free, easy to take.
Right.
The results are presented in this fun, engaging way.
Like personality for the people.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
the system itself is quite elegant in its simplicity.
Right.
5 basic spectrums combined to create 16 distinct types.
Uh-huh.
It's pretty easy to grasp.
Makes sense.
Plus those 4-letter codes, they're catchy.
Right, and fun to share.
Exactly.
I've seen people sharing their types all over social media.
Oh yeah, it's like a personality hashtag.
Totally.
And there's also the power of validation.
Okay.
People find comfort in seeing their experiences reflected in those type descriptions. It can be validating to know that you're not alone.
Yeah, like finding your tribe
Exactly.
based on your personality type.
Yeah.
I get that.
And 16 personalities goes beyond just describing types.
Oh, okay.
It offers insights into strengths, weaknesses, career paths, even relationship dynamics.
So like a whole personality user manual?
Exactly.
Cool.
So despite its limitations, 16 Personalities has become a really popular tool for self-discovery.
It makes sense.
It sparks conversations, encourages self-reflection, helps people connect with others.
Okay, so we've talked about the good and the bad.
Right.
What's the final takeaway for our listeners? What should they do with all this information?
The key takeaway is this. Embrace the insights that 16 Personalities offers,
Okay.
but don't let it define you.
Right.
Use it as a tool for self-awareness and growth, but remember that you are far more complex
Yeah.
than any personality type can really capture.
It's like a starting point,
It is.
not the finish line.
Exactly. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep discovering that amazing tapestry of your own unique personality.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah,
I think that's a perfect note to end on.
I agree.
We've reached the end of our deep dive into the world of 16 personalities.
It's been fun.
I hope you've all enjoyed the journey.
Me too.
And until next time, keep those personalities shining.